All right, guys, so we got some stuff to talk about with Destiny 2 and the long road ahead. Now, the main focus of this video is going to be around PvE. I've been playing a lot more PvP, but I don't want to kind of shoehorn PvP and give it some conversation. Those conversations, I believe, deserve a whole video in itself because I don't want to treat PvP like Bungie's been treating PvP, and I think that's kind of the purpose of why I don't want it to be a side part of this video. The main point here is going to be the narrative, the content structure, transparency from Bungie, and into the light. All these things are leading us into the final shape. Now, little disclaimer, I'm going to tell you how I feel about Destiny 2 right now because I think that's important. I'm okay. I'm having fun. I'm doing dungeons. I'm doing raids. I'm having a good time. I'm making content, stuff like that, experimenting some builds, things like that, bringing up my other characters, stuff like that. I'm okay, but not everyone is, and I understand that. My worst point of my love for this franchise, and I consider this franchise my favorite franchise ever, is the release of D2 and kind of those expansions after. Ever since then, I have never, gotten to that low point, and I don't think even here I'm even near that low point. But for some other players, the circumstances are certainly different. We are in a much later year of the life cycle of Destiny 2, whereas like the launch of Destiny 2 was like the worst for me, and that was like year one. So we knew things should have gotten better, and they did get much better. But yeah. Just a little transparency for you guys. You take that as you will. And if you guys want to put in the comment section how you're feeling, be my guest. We can have a conversation about it. Now, first up on the list, let's talk about the narrative real quick. This narrative was a lot less than I wanted. And it was not as flashy as Season of the Seraph. Maybe that's due to the delay, probably because of the delay. But at the same time, I also feel like it had a part to do with the fact that we didn't get much. Like, we just send Crow over. And we're... Now, next up is a whole nother story in itself, a season worthy of a story. And I mean season worthy, I mean like the entirety of a season narrative, not just season of the worthy. Don't want to give anyone PTSD there, but there is still a lot to cover and we still need to get in there and we don't know how. We just know that Mara and Crow are now key factors of guiding us through there, using the Veil to kind of untangle and give us a path in there. That is crazy. That is like astronomically kind of a failure on the narrative of the year that we still are waiting for that answer. We're still waiting for that how do we get in there? And we're going to need Into the Light. So this is going to segue into a point of Destiny that Bungie needs to treat as a brand new season, Into the Light. Now, we don't know the surroundings natures of this except for the fact that this is going to be kind of a moment in Destiny 2 that's going to bring all players together to lead us into the final shape. That is basically their words summarized, and we know nothing else. I don't know any leaks, things like that. But this point from April leading into June needs to be monumental for the narrative. We need to start getting quests. We need to start getting actual missions. We do need to see some sort of change to the structure that we have been getting in this period so we feel a lot more confident and excited into the final shape. And that is a lot of work. Obviously, this delay that they did was long in advance. This is not something that came out of nowhere. It's just we heard it much later when they were ready to tell us. So Into the Light needs to be that. It needs to be a new season in itself, telling the story of the Crow and Mara and how their connections helping Osiris, and finally get us onto the path forward into the Traveler, into the Paleheart. Because until then, guys, I don't know what to say. This is quite disappointing. Now, let's jump away from Into the Light and some narrative stuff. Let's go to some of the content stuff. Bungie needs to lay out a plan, some information, some acknowledgements of the lack of content and, I guess you could say, foundational content to Destiny 2. These things include strikes, exotic missions. And when I mean exotic missions, we're talking grand exotic missions like the Whisper or, Zero Mission, stuff like that. And I do think like the new one, like the Wishkeeper one and like the one we got in the past with Operation Seraph is important. But right now we're only getting like 2 exotic missions a year, or at least 1 in a way. And it's like, what are we doing? Well, specifically, we got 2 this year with Vexcalibur. I don't know why I forgot that one. That one's also really cool, but like we need more. And I do think every season should have an exotic mission. We should find a way to structure the pipeline of production in a more content focused way and like maybe put less time into microtransactions. Like that does take time, guys. That isn't easy. That does take time, and I think those are resources that don't really help the game financially, and I think that showed in their 45% revenue miss because people probably overvalue the store over at Bungie when it comes to the executives, and that really bit them in the ass. So like strikes, like there's been a lacking of strikes ever since Shadowkeep in my opinion, and that's unfortunate. That really is. Like we need way more strikes. Like we shouldn't get 1 to 2 strikes per expansion. We should get a strike every season and 2 strikes minimum with an expansion. Like these are very big parts of Destiny. They are big to the rotators of PvE. Like playing Battlegrounds are fun and all, but like they're just reskins of certain strikes and overall locations, and it doesn't feel unique. It doesn't feel expansive and meaningful to the world like a strike does. And an example, if you guys have any doubts of the meaning of a strike when it comes to the narrative purpose, the introduction of Savathûn and the lead up to Savathûn was done through strikes. And yeah, like one of the best, if not the best expansion and best villain, sorry Witness, you're not even close, to the franchise of Destiny, that character was built up through a strike. And yes, I know we got another character right now when it comes to Warlord Druin and a relationship that person has with Aldrin, Crow's former self, forget his name, I think it's Ernick or whatever. Yes, we're getting that in a dungeon form, but we need more of that throughout the game, throughout the content, to make the world of Field a little bit more lively, because I do think Battlegrounds and these, you know, activities that are mini strikes in a way or operations don't really feel as whole as they should in the state of Destiny right now. So content wise, I want to see a little bit of acknowledgement of that, some transformation stuff, and give us a good pipeline of what we should consistently see year in, year out, episode from episode, and things like that. And even announce the acknowledgement of another expansion. I know that they probably don't want to do that because the final shape needs to have some stakes, and you don't want to say, hey, yeah, after this, boom, we have more stuff. But at the same time, give us some acknowledgements, give us some reassurances there. But altogether, I'm curious to see what you guys feel on the long road ahead with the final shape. What are some things you want Bungie to do in this period of time? It is 5 to 6 months, so I do think they have some time to kind of talk about that stuff. If you guys also enjoyed your time with this video, whether it's informative or enjoyed what I had to say or agree with me in any way, be sure to drop this video a like, helps out the video a ton. Any support on this channel, whether it's viewership, subscription, or a like, is greatly appreciated. Goes a long way, and I am very grateful for any support you guys give. And besides that, if you guys are new here and want more content from me, whether it's Destiny 2, Rainbow Six Siege, or Call of Duty, be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I do drop more content. But until then, that's all I got for this one. Hope you guys have a good one. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.